Welcome back, guys. Let's begin our new story. Ethan had spent years as an investigative journalist, chasing leads and unraveling urban legends. But when an anonymous tip pointed him toward the isolated town of Black Hollow, he hesitated. The email was cryptic, warning him about the echoing woods, a stretch of dense forest known for its strange disappearances and eerie whispers. You seek the truth, come to Black Hollow, the woods call for you. The message was unsigned, but Ethan couldn't ignore it. With his camera and recorder packed, he set out, unaware that he was stepping into a nightmare. Black Hollow was a forgotten town, shrouded in mist and silences. Its streets were nearly empty, save for a few weary faces that quickly turned away when Ethan tried to walk. He checked into the only motel, an aging structure that smelled of damp wood and dust. The owner, a frail old man named Mr. Grayson, eyed him warily. You are not here for the woods, are you? He asked. Maybe, Ethan replied. Grayson sighed. Nothing good comes from those trees. If you hear the voices, leave, no matter what they say. Ethan noted the fear in the man's eyes. That night, as the wind howled outside, he reviewed his notes. Over the past 50 years, at least 17 people had vanished in the echoing woods, with only one survivor. Margaret, a woman who fled the forest at 17, screaming about shadows that whispered her name. She now lived on the edge of town in a decrepit house no one visited. Margaret House was a ruin, its walls lined with crosses and crude symbols. She greeted Ethan with a shotgun in a hand, but lowered it when she saw his press badge. You don't want to know, she murmured. I do, he insisted. Margaret sighed and poured them both a drink. The woods aren't normal. They echo, but not your voice. They whisper your thought, your fear, your regrets, and then they take you. Take you? How? Her hands trembled. They mimic your voice. Then they come closer. If you answer them, if you turn to look, you never leave. Ethan felt a chill creep up his spine. Did you hear the voices? He asked. Margaret's gaze darkened. I did, and I answered once, but I ran before it could claim me. The others were not as lucky as me. Determined, Ethan ventured into the echoing woods at dusk. The air was thick with silence, unnatural and suffocating. He recorded everything, describing the towering trees and the unsettling absence of life. Then he heard it. Ethan, a whisper, too close. He spun around, but there was nothing. His breath quickened. He pressed forward, but the whispers continued. Why did you leave her, Ethan? He froze. The voice was his own, but it spoke of something buried deep in his past. His sister, Lee, who had died when they came with their children. Come back, Ethan. It wasn't your fault. His legs trembled. He gritted his teeth and kept walking. Suddenly, he saw footprints on the damp ground, fresh ones. He followed them deeper until he reached a clearing. In the center stood an abandoned cabin, its windows shattered, its door slightly ajar. The whispers grew louder. Ethan hesitated, then stepped inside. The air was thick with decay. Old furniture lay broken, and a mirror stood in the corner covered in dust. He wiped it clean and gasped. The reflection wasn't his. A figure started back, gaunt, the hollowed eyes with a twisted grins. Then it spoke. You took too long to return, Ethan. The voice wasn't his. It wasn't human. Ethan stumbled back as the room darkened. The whispering turned into a chorus of voices, rising in a maddening crescendo. He bolted for the door, but it slammed shut. The whispers turned into the screams. Shadows slithered across the walls, mimicking his movements. Ethan turned in circle, his heart pounding. Then a new voice emerged from the chaos. Margaret. Don't look at it. Get out now. A door burst open, revealing a path. Ethan didn't hesitate. He sprinted through the crashing into the night. Behind him, the cabin collapsed it on by itself, the whispers fading into the silence. Margaret stood at the edge of the woods, a shotgun in hand. Told you not to go, she muttered. Ethan left Black Hollow at dawn, shaken but alive. He played back his recordings. Nothing, no voices, no whispers, no evidence of what had happened. But then, as he reached his motel room, he heard it again. A whisper faint but unmistakable. Ethan, why did you leave me? He turned into mirror. His reflection wasn't his own, and it was smiling. Please hit like and subscribe, and for more such a haunted stories and series.